I married an alien explorer for adventure. Then, she made one impossible demand. Let me tell you how I ended up standing in front of 12 alien elders who were older than my entire civilization, making a bet that would decide whether I got to keep my wife. But first, some background. My name is Ethan Voss. I used to be a deep-sea salvage diver out of Galveston, Texas. I spent 15 years pulling wrecks off the ocean floor, breathing recycled air in places where sunlight never reached. It was dangerous work. Most people thought I was crazy for doing it. I thought it was the only thing that made me feel alive. Then humanity made first contact with the galactic community, and suddenly the ocean felt small. I signed up for the Galactic Integration Exchange program on the same day they opened registration. I did not care about politics or diplomacy. I wanted to see what was out there. 3 months later, I was living on Station Omari 6, a joint species orbital hub that smelled like 100 different biologies and sounded like a marketplace the size of Manhattan. It was loud, chaotic, and wonderful. That is where I met her. Her name was Vaelith Sorathan. I called her Vale. She was Kethari, 7 feet tall, silver-skinned, with bioluminescent veins running beneath her skin that changed color with her emotions. Blue meant calm, gold meant curiosity, white meant joy. She had 4 fingers on each hand and moved like liquid mercury, smooth and deliberate and completely alien. She was an explorer. Among her people, this made her strange. The Kethari were scholars and catalogers. They studied the universe from orbit. They sent drones to planetary surfaces. They collected data from a safe distance and filed it in archives that stretched back 100,000 years. Vale was different. She wanted to touch the soil. She wanted to breathe the air. She wanted to walk into the unknown and feel it around her. When I met her, she was trying to recruit a partner for a planetary survey mission. Every species she had approached said no. The Velnoxy called the planet too toxic. The Grish said the gravity was uncomfortable. The Kethari Science Bureau sent her drones instead of a living partner. She put out an open call on the station boards. I was the only one who responded. Our first expedition together almost ended us both. A rock slide cut off our path back to the shuttle. The atmospheric readings were worse than predicted. We spent 46 hours improvising our survival, using her scanner, and my experience holding my breath in bad situations. When we finally made it back to the station, I had a dislocated shoulder, and she had a cracked rib plate, and we were both grinning like fools. She told me that in Kethari tradition, surviving shared peril created a bond that could be formalized. I asked if she was proposing. She said she was stating a biological and cultural inevitability. I said yes. We had been married for 2 years, when everything changed. Those 2 years were the best of my life. We explored together, planet after planet, each one stranger and more beautiful than the last. She was the scientist, meticulous and brilliant, reverent toward every new discovery. I was the survivor. I patched equipment. I read weather by instinct. I pulled her out of trouble she walked into, because her curiosity was always bigger than her caution. We had a rhythm. She would crouch beside some alien plant, her veins flickering gold with excitement, and I would watch the horizon for whatever was about to go wrong. She once told me, in her precise Kethari way, that I made her statistically less likely to perish during fieldwork. I am pretty sure that was her way of saying she loved me. Our best discovery came on a planet called Vethis Ra. It was an ocean world with floating landmasses and dense fog that glowed at night. Beneath the surface, we found ruins. Ancient structures from a species that had vanished 1,000,000 years ago, their knowledge carved into coral-like formations. A library at the bottom of an alien sea. Every protocol said to send a drone. The water was dense and acidic at certain depths, and something was alive down there. Bioluminescent shapes circling in the deep, watching us from below. Vale looked at me. I looked at her. We dove. What we found was extraordinary. Data storage formations stretching across an underwater cavern, glowing faintly with residual energy after 1,000,000 years of silence. It was possibly the greatest archaeological discovery in a century. When we surfaced, Bael held my face in her 4-fingered hands. Her veins were cycling through colors I had never seen before, shifting so fast I could not read them. "You are the only partner in the galaxy who would have followed me down there," she said. "You are the only one wild enough to lead," I told her. Our friend Darrow, a 4-armed Vrenish cargo pilot orbiting above us, Called us both idiots over the comms. He meant it with love. Then the message came. A priority transmission from Kethra Prime. The Threshold Council, 12 elders who governed the Kethrari species, wanted Vale to return home. It was not a request, it was a summons. Her veins went cold blue. I had learned to read that color. It meant dread. She explained on the flight home. The council tolerated her expeditions. Barely. But her marriage to a human had drawn political and cultural attention. Humans were new to the galactic stage. The Kethari considered us volatile, short-lived, emotionally chaotic, and dangerously unpredictable. Their word for humans roughly translated to, those who thrive in chaos. It was not entirely a compliment. The council wanted to discuss what they called the continuation of her line. Kethari reproduction was rare, deliberate, and considered a civic duty. Vale, as one of the most accomplished explorers in 3 generations, was expected to contribute her genetic material to the species record. The problem was simple. She was bonded to me. And Kethari and humans were not biologically compatible. I asked her what the council would demand. She said she did not know yet, but she knew them, and she was afraid. Kethra Prime was everything I expected, and nothing I was prepared for. The homeworld was pristine, quiet, controlled. The air was filtered. The light was calibrated. Nothing on the entire planet was accidental. It was beautiful the way a museum is beautiful. You are not supposed to touch anything, and everything makes you feel like you do not belong. The Threshold Council received us in a chamber older than human civilization. 12 Kethari elders sat in a semicircle, still as stone, their silver skin so ancient it had turned white. Their bioluminescent veins pulsed in slow, synchronized rhythms, like a shared heartbeat. They acknowledged Vale's accomplishments. They acknowledged our bond. Barely. Then they made their demand. Vale was to sever her bond with me. She would undergo genetic pairing with a selected Kethari partner and produce offspring. In exchange, her exploration license would be renewed for another decade. If she refused, she would be stripped of her explorer caste. Her records would be archived without her name. She would be reassigned to planetary maintenance, the Kethari equivalent of filing paperwork for the rest of her life. The demand was not cruel by their standards. It was logical. Their species needed genetic diversity. Vale's traits were rare. Our marriage was, in their view, a dead end. Emotionally indulgent and biologically pointless. I understood every word. Vale had taught me Kethari during long nights between stars, when there was nothing outside the viewport but darkness and each other. I understood what they were asking. They were asking her to erase me. Vale went silent. Her veins went dark, a color I had never seen before. No light at all. Later, she would tell me it meant a sadness so deep that the body stopped signaling entirely. I asked to address the council. Ambassador Rel, our cultural liaison, looked like he might collapse. A human speaking before the Threshold Council was unprecedented, undignified, possibly against their laws. The eldest council member, a Kethari so old her skin was paper white, permitted it. I think she was curious, maybe amused, maybe she just wanted to see what the little human would do. I did not argue. I did not beg. I did not make a case for love, because I knew the Kethari did not weigh emotion the way we did. Instead, I made them an offer. I told them about Vethis Ra, about the submerged library, about a discovery that could reshape galactic archaeology for generations. I told them that Vale made that discovery because she had something no other Kethari explorer had ever possessed, a partner foolish enough to follow her into acidic water with unknown creatures circling below. I told them her bond with a human was not a weakness, it was an advantage. Not biologically, but practically. She went further, saw more, survived longer, discovered greater things because she had someone beside her who did not calculate risk the way a Kethari would. Someone who looked at danger and thought, well, let us see what happens. Then I made my bet. Give us 5 years, I said. 5 years of joint expeditions, fully documented, with every result submitted to the Kethari Science Bureau. If at the end of those 5 years our discoveries did not exceed the output of any other explorer team in Kethari history, Vale would comply. She would sever the bond. I would walk away, no argument, no appeals. But if we did exceed it, if our partnership proved its worth in the only currency the Council valued, then the bond would stand, permanently, and the Council would formally recognize cross-species partnerships as valid explorer pairings. The chamber was silent. My heart was pounding so hard I was certain every Cathari in the room could hear it. Their hearing is far better than ours. Vale's veins had shifted again. Not dark anymore. Not blue. Something else. A color I had never seen in 2 years of reading her moods. A faint, warm glow, somewhere between gold and white, pulsing softly like a distant star. The eldest council member studied me for a very long time. Her ancient eyes were silver and deep and unreadable. "You would wager your bond on performance metrics," she said. "With respect," I replied, "I am human. We wager everything on everything. It is kind of our thing." She stared at me. I held her gaze. I have stared down the dark at the bottom of the ocean. I could stare down one old alien. The council deliberated for 11 hours. Vale and I waited in a garden that had not changed in 10,000 years. Perfect hedges, perfect light, perfect silence. She held my hand the entire time, her 4 fingers wrapped around my 5. "No Cathari has ever counteroffered the Threshold Council," she said quietly. "That is because no Cathari ever married a Texan," I said. She did not laugh. The Cathari do not laugh. But her veins flickered, and I knew. The council accepted. Not because they believed in us. Not because they were moved by our bond. But because the data from Vethis Ra was extraordinary. And because, though they would never say it out loud, they were curious. The Cathari had built a civilization by eliminating surprise, by controlling every variable, by studying the universe from a safe and measured distance. And here was something they had never studied before. What happens when you pair the most careful species in the galaxy with its most reckless? They wanted to find out. We left Kethra Prime the next cycle. Vale did not look back. I did. Once. The planet hung behind us like a pearl. Smooth, perfect, and utterly still. I am telling you this story from the cockpit of a survey shuttle. Below us is an uncharted world. Planet number 7 of our 5-year run. The atmosphere readings are unusual. The terrain looks unstable. There are energy signatures coming from beneath the surface that do not match anything in the Cathari database. Vale is beside me, prepping equipment. Her veins are cycling through that color again, the one that appeared in the council chamber. The one that has no word in her language. I asked her once what it meant. She thought about it for a long time. "The closest word in your language," she said, "is hope. I do not know if we will meet the council's threshold. I do not know if 5 years is enough. I do not know what is waiting for us down on that planet. But I know one thing. When Vale looks at the unknown and wants to walk into it, I will walk beside her. Not because I am brave, not because I am smart, but because I am human. And humans have been running headlong into the dark since we climbed out of caves, looked up at the stars and thought, I wonder what is out there." She asked me once why humans explore. I told her we do not have a good reason. She said that was the most terrifying and beautiful thing she had ever heard. I take her hand, 4 fingers around 5. "Ready?" I ask. She looks at me. That color in her veins, brighter now, pulsing like a heartbeat. "With you? Always." We descend.